So we are checking out Jason from Primetime Aquatics, his fish room. Look at this. I mean, this is just one side. There's huge tank after huge tank. And then look at this. Like what a place to hang out. A low boy right in the middle. You got the couches around it. And we're gonna go through tank by tank and see this whole thing. But he's got another low boy island over here. And just amazing, and I mean amazing fish tanks. Like look at this guy. Oh my gosh. Huge tilapia. Reminds me of Geo. And you got a ton of shell dwellers. I can't wait to just dive into this fish room and see what they got. But like even this tank, like how cool is that? Tons of either, I don't know if that's jungle vow or dwarf sad, something. Even got some shrimp in there. There's a little guy right there. But we are gonna go in depth with this room and see everything that Jason from Primetime Aquatics has to offer. What is going on, shrimp keepers? This is Rob with flipaquatics.com, and today we are in Jason and Joanne's fish room. This is Jason from Primetime Aquatics. Jason, why don't you just say hi?
Hello everyone, welcome to the fish room.
There you go. So Jason is a biologist, microbiologist by trade?
Yes, so I teach biology and microbiology.
So he's a very smart guy. He knows his stuff. He breeds a ton of fish, and we actually just got Kasha in the house too. So what? Creative Pet Keeping, we got a party going on here. You guys are missing out, but I'm hopefully gonna show you enough of this that you guys feel like you did miss out, and we're gonna have a great time seeing Jason's fish room. So let's get right into it, Jason.
Let's do it.
Jason, I asked everyone this question. If you could give one piece of advice to everyone watching, what would it be?
I think the number one thing is have patience with your fish tanks. One of the number one things that we see when there are issues are people trying to rush, put fish in a tank that isn't ready for it. If you can be patient, allow your tank to cycle, allow your water parameters to stabilize, you're going to have much better luck early on. It's going to be so much more enjoyable because there's nothing more stressful than watching fish get sick and wondering what to do about it, especially when you're new. So have patience and everything's going to be much better.
Awesome.
Well, these tanks are kind of ugly, but yeah, we can.
They're not ugly, man. I think they're awesome.
You should have seen it when it was
I love them.
done. It was so beautiful. Now look at it.
Wait, is this the type of shell dweller that Kasha has as well?
Yeah, those are gold ocellatus.
Man, those are sweet. So, first of all, how big of an aquarium is this?
So this is a 125 gallon. It is a Lake Tanganyika setup. When it was originally set up, it looked different from this. We have some rather strong lights on this tank. We've got a couple of Fluval 3.0s, and we're trying to dial in the light. And in doing that, we're still getting a decent amount of green hair algae. It happens. We've actually reduced it quite a bit. It's not unhealthy for the fish. It may not look good for some people. I actually don't mind the look necessarily because it gives it kind of a natural feel. Fish love it. They like to breed in it. But it's a little messy looking, so I
like it.
Yeah, we've got a lot of different fish in here. We've got two different types of shell dwellers. We've got gold ocellatus. We have Neolampologus meleagris, which is a pretty cool shell dweller. We have some Chromis leptosoma. That's the blue fish with the yellow tails. Really cool fish. They have really large fry. When they spit them out, they only spit out maybe 3, 4, 5 fry at a time, but they're big. And then we've got the inkfin calvus, and those are predator fish. They're really skinny. They're kind of flat and they fit between rocks, and they're the more predatory looking fish with that big jaw. And I think, we've got some ophthalmotilapia powder blues. That's the silvery fish. I think they're two females. That's why they're not really super colorful. And then the other fish that we have in this tank are these little guys here. They look like shell dwellers. They're long and skinny, and they are Tiger pictilis, Neolampologus tiger pictilis. They are actually, I believe, a West African, but they fit in nicely with the theme, and there's a bunch of them. There's like 10 or 12 of them in this tank.
Wow.
I'm hoping they're going to breed, and we actually have a couple super red bristlenose in here that are attempting to keep an eye on the algae. We'll see if they can catch up with it.
They need to step their game up.
They're going to be like 16 inches long. I thought you said these were bristlenose. Yeah, they're 16-inch bristlenose. They had a lot of algae to feed on. So
this is awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. I think it looks great.
Yeah, it's, like I said, this green hair algae, hopefully it'll get reduced in time.
Yeah. Now how about the tank down here?
Down here, for people who watch our channel, we set this tank up originally as a South American biotope for some Geophagus pellegrini, and they got a bacterial infection, unfortunately, and we lost them. So we wound up with some Apistogramma cacatoides double reds, and then we've got one of my favorite tetras on the face of the earth, and that's the black phantom tetras. I really love those fish. And we had some old white skirt tetras left over. There's some bristlemills in here. We've actually got like, I think there's 6, and there's one right here by the wood. Orange laser Cory cats, which I like a lot. And again, strong lights, we're dialing it back. And one of the things, these tanks aren't very old, so it's kind of going through its growing pains, figuring out how much light they need for the plants that we have. And we'll eventually kind of figure that out and make it look better as we go.
Now, Joanne, this is your nano tank corner, right? So what do we got going on over here? What's the plan? How many more tanks?
Well, we have 3 right now, so about probably 9. Maybe like 9 more tanks.
9 more? So 12 total? Yeah. It's a secret. No, don't look at this tank there. So is this mainly going to be betas, shrimp, nano fish, all the above?
Yes.
Yes is the answer.
What is the name of this nano wall? Because she actually wanted to give it a name, Rob.
Did you? What's the name?
The Flip Aquatics nano wall?
No. It was the Flip. No. All right, let me do it. The Flip Aquatics Nanopalooza wall.
Nanopalooza wall.
She wanted to name it that. I'm not kidding.
I did.
So at some point you're probably going to see that
You're
because
going to see a thumbnail drop down, and that's what it's going to be called.
I mean, most of these tanks are.
Oh, and the pea puffers, I just saw one. Oh, they are adorable. Yeah, I love pea puffers.
They're just, I could watch them for hours.
They have so much personality.
Yeah, they do.
That's really cool.
It's Larry and Mo. Yeah. I lost Curly.
Larry and Mo. Yeah. Curly didn't make it. No. Poor Curly. I like the beta tank down here. That's really nice.
Those are Kasha's Beta Mahachai.
Yes, Mahachai.
We got a pair from her.
She's already given me some tips to encourage them to, when they're dropping the eggs, I have to take out some of those rocks.
Yes, you do. Yeah. And the tanks, a lot of the tanks that you see that are uncovered, every single tank in our fish room is usually covered. So if you see something that's not covered, it's because we took it off, because it doesn't look nice on film. This tank is... Some of the people that watch my channel, they call it the United Nations tank because there are fish from it seems like every continent on the face of the earth. This combination is not something I would necessarily recommend, but it's worked out okay for us right now. The tinfoil barbs, I actually had these fish on a video that I titled Fish I Wish I Didn't Buy. Not because I don't like tinfoil barbs, I love them, but they got really big.
Yeah, look how big they are.
This is a 4'1", 150. They desperately need at least, in my opinion, a 6', 180.
Wow.
To be comfortable. The problem is these fish are really old. Most of the fish that you see in this tank, those tinfoil barbs are about 10 years old. The Ballast Shark, this Ballast Shark was in this tank when we first set it up about 11 years ago, I think it was. Dang. So these are some old fish. We've got a Raphael cat down there that's 11 years old. I don't know how much you know about Raphael cats.
Oh my gosh, that is the fattest.
You see him just laying there?
Well, the loach right here.
Oh yeah, the loach.
That's the fattest loach I've ever seen in my life.
He eats well.
He does. And then the Raphael cat is just like upside down.
Well, the Raphael cat, he'll sit like that for months, like 2-3 months. And then what he'll do, the first time he did it, I thought he was going to die.
Yeah.
But what he does is he goes really hardcore on the food for like 2 or 3 months and gets really, really big, and then he goes down there and he'll stay down there for 2 or 3 months and not eat at all. So he just kind of does that. He'll go up to the top and just eat and eat. But there's a lot of fish that I like. My favorite fish in all the fish room is this Geophagus right here.
Really?
It was sold to me as Surinamensis. A lot of my viewers commented that's probably Altifrons because the Surinamensis are really rare. But that's probably my favorite fish, and when he's in the right light, he's got so much spangling, so much personality. So I really, really like that fish, and he's getting a little bit older now. We've got an electric blue car that's extremely old, so you see him up there. I think he's probably half blind too. Severums, we've got a couple golds and a red shoulder. We have a decently sized angelfish in this tank. Probably one of the fish that probably doesn't belong with the others. We've got a frontosa in here, but he gets along. They're really mellow fish.
Yeah, and this little guy.
Oh yeah, and that's an emperor tetra. We actually had a pair in here, and the female died. Now we got the male in here, but they don't eat smaller fish. We've had smaller fish in here before, and they just basically all leave them alone, and they get along pretty well. You don't see anybody fin nipping or chased into a corner or anything. So it's a fun tank. I like it. If I could do it over again, the Tinfoil Barbs would be in a larger tank if I had it. So these are 75 gallons, and your viewers are going to see this tank before we actually reveal it on our channel.
Really?
So Joanna just redid this tank. For people who normally watch our channel, this was a tank that had some Midas cichlids in it, but some things happened. We had to move some fish around. But in this tank, she just escaped this a few days ago, and that's why you'll actually see a little bit of fungus growing on the wood. That's kind of normal, and it goes away after a couple days. The fish got a couple things going on. We have some Gymnogeophagus balzani. There's 6 of them in there. They're going to get to be about 5 or 6 inches. A lot of spangling, just like the Geophagus we saw in the 150. And then the other fish, it's a true freshwater goby, Rhino Gobies hennechuensis. And we had these in a 10-gallon for years, and they're really social fish. They're almost like loaches, and they just, you see them kind of hanging out all silly.
For us.
And there's actually 10 of them in that tank. And along, we got a mystery snail.
Up here.
Yeah, we got a mystery snail. We've got a couple super red bristlenose. So we're really excited about the tank. I think it's going to be awesome. It's got a little bit of a darker water, not necessarily black water, but we didn't soak the driftwood. We rinsed it, we cleaned it, and then we put it in just to kind of get a little bit darker feel to it.
It looks good. It looks real good.
I like the way it turned out. I thought Joanna did a pretty good job with it.
Joanna, she's so talented at this.
Yeah, she didn't want me to do it because she knew that I'd really be awesome. This.
There would be a pile of rocks.
There would be a pile. There's always every tank I do is a pile of rocks. This tank is a 75 as well. It's a community tank. I think every fish room needs a tank where when you've got fish that don't fit in a previous tank, they just kind of go somewhere and live the rest of their lives in relative harmony.
Yeah.
Probably the nut. Oh, right there. I don't know if you just got on camera, but there is a Bergmorii loach that is one of my favorite fish in the fish room. He's kind of perched on the rock. That fish is really cool, but for a loach, it's one of the most aggressive loaches you will ever find. It fits in well with this tank. At one point, we had some Severums in here. That leaf Tinapoma is a pretty cool fish, kind of hangs out. The other fish in the tank, we've got some Thrychthys maculopinnis, which is kind of like a firemouth. And we have a Geophagus steindachneri, which is kind of sort of the boss of the tank. He's got that big red hump on his head.
Oh yeah, he's cool.
Yeah, they'll get much larger too, but you can see we've got the Redtail Shark, and he's the boss. And he's an old guy. That Redtail Shark has been around now for probably 7 or 8 years. And he's a great fish, but he runs the tank for sure. And it's just kind of a community tank. It's pretty cool. We actually have a clown pleco in there, but I never see it. So people always ask me why I don't have special plecos and expensive ones, because half the time I put them in the tank and then like 6 months later,
never see them again.
Appear. Yeah. These are 55s. Oh, wait a minute. What is that? Where did that come from?
Jeez.
All right, we'll cover that. Edit that one out.
Edit out. There's nothing to see here.
Nothing to see.
Nothing to see here at all.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, it happens. I mean, fish get old and they die.
Well, yeah, but I don't know what that. Pleco must have gotten a hold of that. Ate the whole thing. There's a spine left. So anyway, in this tank we have some.
What are you guys looking at?
There's a fish. You can give me a net. I don't want to look at that thing. The poor guys. I think that might. Yeah, go give me a net, because this poor thing is like all messed
Seriously?
up. I don't know where it came from.
What happened?
There's a spine.
Well, you're not using one of my nets.
One of your nets. All right, hold on. Let's get a net here.
Hold on, though. Here, we'll pause it for a second.
Right.
Now, I know most of you here have heard of Jason from Primetime Aquatics, but if you haven't, go check out his channel. It's Primetime Aquatics. 3 words, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah,
3 words. Yeah. And go check it out. I'll put the link down below. I'll also put it right here, and you guys can go see that. Go check out his channel. He has tons of educational stuff. You're a microbiologist by trade.
Right.
You're a teacher, so you're really good at educating. And so, so if you guys want to learn a little bit more, check out Jason's channel, and he'll fill your head with knowledge.
Yeah, we will. We'll try. No joke.
Take 2.
Take 2 of the 55-gallon cichlid disaster. This tank's looking great. There isn't any dead fish in here at all. So here we've got a couple things going on. A lot of people would not recommend doing this. We've got some Mbuna cichlids, the blue ones.
Oh yeah, they're gorgeous.
Those are Msobos. And it's actually, those are the males, and then the orange one in the far corner, that orange cichlid, Mbuna, that's a female.
Really?
So the males get that really cool blue, and you can see the most dominant male's almost got like a fluorescent light blue, so when he comes out, he's really, really pretty. the interesting thing is I've got a couple of peacocks in here. So I've got a female sulfur head, and that's a male eureka red, and they get along fine. At least they are for now. And it's something where when we mix fish, we always make sure that they're going to be okay. So if we see any bullying or anything like that, the nice thing about having 65 fish tanks is you always have an opportunity to move fish around if you see a problem. So this is really just set up. It's not a pretty tank. It's set up because I want the Imsobos to begin breeding. And the ratios are horrible. Normally you'd want like maybe 3, 4, 5 females per male. This is exactly the opposite. It's just the way it turned out. I bought 6 fish and they almost are all males.
You got 5 males and 1 female.
But they're okay. They've got their pecking order. They've got their dominance worked out, and nobody's getting hurt.
And it works.
So, yeah. This tank down here, this is a 55, and these are Geophagus tapajos, redhead tapajos. This is the pair, the male, the larger male and the female. They've paired up, and they've been a pair for a long time, and they've given us lots and lots of offspring, which is kind of cool. We have 4 of them in total, but then we've got this random Peacock Cichlid, and the blue one, it's a hybrid. It's a mix between a dragon blood and a red empress, and I thought it was so pretty, I wanted to make sure I got him out of the 10-gallon holding tank and separated him and put him somewhere where no one's going to mess with his fins and he can just be comfortable. And believe it or not, this was a tank where I'm like, you know what, this is probably going to work. He's not super aggressive. They've already established their colony, and it's working, at least for now. And if it doesn't later, we'll move him.
Always move him.
But yeah, so I think he's going to be a really pretty fish, but we'll see.
Oh, I like this tank already. I see the little shrimp moving around.
Yeah, so this isn't even my tank. The boys, they decided to start a shrimp breeding project, and these are well, mostly cherry shrimp, although they've got some culling to do as I look at the tank, but they breed a lot. Most of them are on the substrate, and they're just picking through. There's, I don't even know, many hundreds.
Got tons of them in here.
And they just keep breeding like crazy, and we keep pulling them out and selling them, and it's a super productive tank.
There's so many in there.
Yeah, and
that's great.
What's interesting is for a lot of our shrimp tanks, the combination that we found works really well is you get shrimp and then you mix in the plecos. So we have a couple of long fin lemon drop plecos, and you'll see throughout our fish room a lot of times we combine the two because the plecos seem to leave the shrimp alone, and it doesn't, they don't inhibit one another's breeding, and they both have different cleaning strategies. So the plecos are doing a lot with the surface area on the glass and the decorations, and the shrimp are picking through everything else. So they keep the tanks really clean too.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Wow, this guy's gorgeous.
Yeah, this is a 20 long that's got some Apistogramma cockatoides double red. And again, this is one of these tanks where a lot of times you'd hear, okay, this is never going to work in a 20 with all these males. And we've probably got 10 Apistos in here, and I would say at least 6 of them are males. And for right now, they're okay. They're not picking on each other. If they do, we've got options. We've got places we can move them. The idea is at some point we're going to begin breeding them. We actually had one of these little tiny females. We got her. When we got them, the next day they had little pink eggs on one of the leaves, but they fungused up right away. So I don't know if they will fertilize. But so they are already breeding even at this size of a couple inches. But love these fish. So,
wow.
And then down here,
tons of plants down here.
This is so actually one of the things that we do in our fish room is we have certain tanks that are set aside really just for growing plants. There's a lot of jungle val here, this big giant sword. This tank really is again another one of those tanks where we put fish here when they're not fitting into other tanks. So we've got some rasboras, but what we do have is probably at least 7 or 8 really old Apistogramma mendezi. They are well past their breeding years, as well as some Bolivian rams. So this is a tank where we just kind of set some fish aside and let them live out their golden years. And you know, one of the things that we really try to do is these are our pets, right? Our fish are our pets. So we're really not big in just cycling through fish and cycling through tanks and getting rid of fish and getting more fish just for the sake of doing it. Yeah. So when fish get old, we want to have a place to put them so they can start their lives in our fish room, finish them there too.
That's really cool. Yeah. And up here, look at all these Malaysian trumpet snails.
Yeah,
man.
we love them. No, they just grow like crazy.
You breed them like crazy.
So this is yet another Apistogramma. These are less common. These are Apistogramma penduro. The females are the yellow ones with the kind of the black in the midsection and around the face, and the males have that blue color. And in this tank, it looks like we've got 3 males and 2 females, And they're not going to breed in our water. Our water is too hard and the pH is too high, but if we were to bring down the pH and the water hardness, and we may do that, this would be a really cool fish to breed because they're absolutely beautiful. It's one of the few opistos, in my opinion, where the females look every bit as interesting as the males. They look different, but they both look really pretty. I love these fish. So I picked these up from a Greater Chicago Cichlid Association rare fish auction. So really cool fish.
These guys are gorgeous. Oh, I like the sand.
Yeah, so that's actually pool filter sand. These are Lamprologus ocellatus, gold ocellatus. This is that big guy there. He's a male, and the female's over to the left, kind of always hanging out in the shells. And we got some smaller juveniles in here. They breed a lot for us, and so you'll see in other tanks we've got some of the babies. We sell a lot of these fish. Really like them, but they are one of the meanest shell dwellers, one of the meanest cichlids really that you will ever find, even at their size. You put your hand in the tank and they will attack you, and they've got little fangs, so when we're cleaning the tanks it's always fun watching them, you know, attack our arms. No fear with these fish, none.
This guy's huge for Shelly.
Yeah, he just kind of hangs out and
until you put your hand in the tank.
Until you put your hand in the tank.
Then it's game on.
These are some of my favorite Nano Cichlids. This is Nano Luteus, Cryptoheros Nano Luteus. I love these blue eyes. So blue eyes, they've got the nice yellow bodies. Relatively peaceful. This is as big as they get. This is a 29-gallon tank. They're getting along well with one another. I think we've got 8 or 9 of them in this tank. And you know, it's one of these fish where if you're looking for a centerpiece fish in a 20 long or a 29, you know, getting one of these would be pretty cool. You have to be careful with the pair because if they start having babies, yeah, then maybe you would have some issues with a little bit of aggression towards other fish. But at least as they are here, I love these fish. They're awesome. This is our 10-gallon rack, and really what it is, it's a grow-out rack. It's a quarantine. We have a lot of quarantine stuff going on in here. When we get new fish in the fish room, the last thing we want to do is spread disease throughout all of our fish room. You know, all of these are juveniles from fish that we've bred. The red zebra and Buna cichlids. I'll show you the parents that are on the other side. These are Luke's Star Sapphire fry. We've got a betta in here that's in quarantine right now that Joanna got. What is going on? It's in here.
Shrimp?
Yeah, are these? Did you put the pumpkin? Did you bring the pumpkin shrimp?
No.
What the heck is that?
That's a pumpkin shrimp.
What?
Are you kidding?
We don't have pumpkin shrimp. No.
You really don't have pumpkin shrimp?
No. You were going to get me some pumpkin shrimp.
I never got any from you. What is that?
It's definitely a pumpkin shrimp.
Don't you know what's going on in your fish room?
No. Did you see it?
No, move.
I don't know where that came from.
And I think one swam to the back too.
We all investigated.
What is that?
Oh, look at him. Where'd he come from?
Are you sure you didn't throw them in there?
Oh yeah.
All right.
Oh,
Did you bring
he's
any?
just going to have shrimp.
I didn't bring them with me. They're coming tomorrow.
All right.
I can see him just coming in and throwing shrimp in your tank.
Oh yeah, just hide them everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, am I in your way?
So weird.
Isn't that crazy?
That's what
You
happens.
really had no idea.
We've never had pumpkin shrimp in our fish room, so I don't know if that's just a variant from.
Read it down a little bit.
Maybe
They'll mess it up.
Is it
cherries?
possible that cherries could throw a yellow out like that?
I mean, yeah. It's possible.
Yes,
Anything's
orange
possible.
Pumpkin shrimp is a variation of cherry shrimp.
All
I
right,
researched. Daniel taught me. You learned.
Okay, so we've got. Apparently, we have a pumpkin shrimp in here. One
The quarantine tank.
in the quarantine tank. And then these are Eureka Red juveniles that kind of are growing out. We actually these fish at this size, they've been holding. I just don't pull the females. There's actually one holding right there.
Wow.
But they breed really small. This is a Tretocephalus cichlid, Lake Tanganyika. They're kind of mean, so we're probably going to wind up putting them in the Mbuna tank on the other side. There's 3 of them. Down here,
Oh yeah, they are mean.
yeah, we have, again, more grow out. So these are sulfur head cichlids. The parents were in the 75 with the Msobos. These are Psilocybe, Pseudotropheus psilocybe Mbunas that we just pulled a few days ago. The mother was holding, so we...
Yeah, they're getting big then.
Yeah, well, she was holding for a long time, so she was probably at 3 weeks, and we went ahead and stripped her and put up the fry in and these are older ones right here. So on the right-hand side, you can see older Psilocybe, and on the other side I'll show you the adults, what they look like, because the males and the females are different colors. So up here, top 33, these are one of my favorite Mbunas. These are rusty cichlids, and what's interesting about them is, one, they don't seem to be, at least in our setup, they don't seem to be preying on fry at all. So the females will spit out. In fact, we've got a female that's holding, I just noticed today, I think it's this one here, yeah. So they spit the fry out, the fry go in the rocks, and they just kind of hang out, but they're probably one of the least aggressive imbunas. You often hear the African cichlids, the imbunas are really super aggressive, and they can be, but like yellow labs are pretty relaxed. I would say these are every bit as chilled out as a yellow lab would be.
Wow.
In fact, we had them in our imbuna community tank, and we had to pull them out because they were getting a little bit too beat up. So,
and they're gorgeous looking.
yeah,
The color is awesome.
And you know what would be really, this tank is not properly set up for this particular fish. They really need white sand, and when you put them on white sand, you see a lot more purple. It's so pretty. This is a 33 Lake Tanganyika setup.
I love this tank.
Yeah, what's interesting is we've got these Neolamprologus calyptris, they're the ones with the blue lips. The males get these blue lips. They're technically kind of a shell dweller because the females stay quite a bit smaller, and when they have fry, the females stay in the shells, but the males are really large. You see how you got a big mound of shells on one side of the tank? One male took all those shells, they were all over the tank, took them all, and now they're all his shells, and nobody else can have them, and then he's got 2 or 3 females in those shells. We have some Julieta Chromis transcriptus, that's the white and black kind of spotted one. They have babies in this tank as well. That's a male and female pair. And I would say the one that's breeding the best for us in this tank are the Neolamprologus lelupi. Those are the orange ones. And you can see there's juveniles, and when they're really young, they don't have that orange color. They look kind of pale. And it's kind of interesting. Probably one of the, believe it or not, one of the most expensive fish I have in the fish room are probably these.
Really?
Yeah, they are Chromis. They were pinus, and they're really cool fish. If the lights were dimmer, if we'd set this tank up properly for them, you would see like these really awesome purple, almost fluorescent stripes to their bodies and their fins. And usually when you find them retail, when you can find them, they're extremely expensive. We're trying to breed them. In this tank, they don't look as good as they should.
Gotcha.
But it's a fun tank. I like it.
It is a fun
tank. Get along. It's a pretty relaxed tank. Down here, this is our heavily planted or somewhat heavily planted tank. These are Guianacara sturgiosi. We have 5 of them in this tank. Trying to breed them. We've got a pair on the right-hand side that have been guarding this little cave structure. We have a female that's colored up on the left-hand side with a male over there. So I think at some point relatively soon, we're going to start seeing 2 sets of babies on each side of the tank. We also have some
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, we got some green neons in the back as well. So it's a relaxing tank to look at because they're not super overly active. They're not very aggressive, which is kind of cool. So I love this tank. The sturgiosi I don't see them all the time, so I just kind of like the way they look, and they're a little different.
Yeah.
A little different.
Low boy.
Yeah, one of our 2 low boys. These are Pistogramma fire reds. And so with this tank, we've got the Pistogramma in here. They're still young, so they're still kind of small. We also have about a half dozen orange laser cory cats. And then if you look closely under the leaves, you'll see some pencil fish in here in various parts. There's 3 or 4 of them in this tank as well. So a lot of crypts, a lot of anubias, a little bit of green hair algae. It's just, you know, it's one of those things where it's going to happen. But this is a fun tank just to watch the fish kind of swim around. Love the pistols.
Oh, this is nice just to sit back in the couch and just watch it.
So this tank is definitely not done. We're going to add more fish to it at some point, but we're taking our time with stocking this and making sure that we get it right. So
I like it a lot. I think this is a great layout and great setup with the couches.
Isn't it relaxing?
It is so relaxing. Yeah, I could sit here for forever.
So this tank it's a 40-gallon breeder, and we've got a couple of severums. They were sold as gold red severums, and so I'm pretty sure we've got a pair here. This is a male. I think that's a female and they're still a little bit young, but they spend a lot of time together. So I'm hoping that they will eventually make babies. That would be pretty cool. And then we still have some Cryptoheros sahicas. They're kind of the tan-looking fish. When they get older, they look really pretty. We've done some stuff on them. We had a larger group at one point, and I showed those off. But right now, they're kind of pale and not so exciting looking. But the severums, I'm hoping, we'll eventually move them into a larger tank and put them in a breeding situation, if we do, in fact, have a pair. But based on the way they hang out, I think there's a good chance. Hopefully. We'll see. The bottom is a tank full of rainbow cichlids. So they're just kind of hanging out. What's interesting about them is I've never seen a cichlid besides Mbuna that attack plants as quick as they do. I made the mistake when they were really young. I had some plants in a tank and they ripped them all out and ate them all in a very short order, but they're really cool fish. I like their colors. They do pair up. I do see them with spawning behavior and spawning colors. I just haven't gotten around to pulling any fry. At least around here, a lot of people have them, so it's not like
they're
those
gorgeous
fish that are,
though.
Yeah, they're really pretty, especially when they're in the right setup with the right substrate and everything. It's pretty cool.
So we just got through the first fish room. Absolutely amazing, Jason. Thank you so much for inviting us over. We got to do one more tour, so we're going to go see the other side, but that's going to be later this week, so you guys stay tuned for that. But Jason, honestly, thank you so much for having us out. Your fish room is absolutely amazing. You and Joanne do an awesome job, and well,
thank you.
I
appreciate you guys coming out and checking it out, and appreciate everybody watching. And yeah, we'll check out the other side too.
All right, well, you guys tune in next week for the next video, and I will talk with you guys soon. God bless.